Man United dressing room reaction to Zinedine Zidane appointment as ex-star makes claim. Louis Saha has backed Zinedine Zidane to be a huge success at Manchester United, revealing the one area in which the Frenchman would instantly improve the Red Devils. Former Manchester United forward Louis Saha has tipped Zinedine Zidane as an ideal candidate to revitalise the club's fortunes. While Saha appreciates the work of current boss Erik ten Hag, he believes that Zidane's uncompromising standards could provide a much-needed boost to the team's mentality. Co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe is at a pivotal juncture regarding ten Hag's future after a season in which he delivered the FA Cup but also saw United slump to their lowest ever Premier League finish of 8th place. In a conversation with OLBG, via the Mirror, Saha expressed his admiration for his countryman. Zidane is the manager I would dream to have at Manchester United for obvious reasons. He would do well and he's motivated to come back into football, and I think it will be difficult for him to stay out for another year. Speaking about what the dressing room reaction would be like, Saha added, "So let's see what happens, but his impact at United would be huge, because a lot of players would see him as an inspiration, a motivation to excel and not just accept the standard they are currently at. They seem to have an approach that just isn't like something Zidane would have. Too many players at United tend to drop their level and fail to have consistency when you need to have 10 players obsessed about getting them back to the very top to be successful." Saha has expressed his support for ten Hag's efforts at Old Trafford but also predicted Zidane would represent a step up. The former Real Madrid boss, who won 2 La Liga titles and 3 consecutive Champions League trophies at the real helm, has been out of work since 2021. Champions League winner Saha, who played alongside Zidane when France were runners-up in the 2006 World Cup, called Zidane a really hard worker who never asked his managers for anything. United have recently revamped their boardroom team to address issues that have plagued them in recent years, but recruitment remains one key area of concern. Brazil winger Antony cost £80 million from Ajax but has struggled to justify that outlay, while there are arguments concerning the mammoth contracts handed to veterans like Casemiro and Rafael Varane. But Saha believes Zidane's ability to inspire a change in attitude, as seen during his time with Real, could also be transformative for United. However, he noted that if Zidane were to take over at Old Trafford, he would face the challenge of navigating a less-than-perfect transfer strategy. Nonetheless, Saha suggests Zidane's demand for maximum effort from his players could lead to a greater chance at success. Kobbie Mainoo has already named dream Manchester United midfield partner amid Joao Neves links. Latest Manchester United transfer news and gossip, as Kobbie Mainoo has already outlined what he wants from a midfield partner, as United are linked with Benfica star Joao Neves. Kobbie Mainoo has already told Manchester United the type of player that would be his ideal midfield partner. Mainoo enjoyed his breakthrough season at United to become one of the first names on the team sheet for manager Erik ten Hag. The 19-year-old scored what proved to be the winning goal in the FA Cup final against Manchester City, which also secured United's spot in next season's Europa League. Men Sport understands that United have put all but 4 players on the transfer list this summer. Mainoo is one of those 4 players alongside Andre Onana, Rasmus Højlund and Alejandro Garnacho. Mainoo looks set to be a key figure in United's future, and if the latest reports are to be believed, a new midfielder may be added to the squad. Reports in Portugal have claimed that the Reds have moved to try and sign Benfica star Joao Neves. Record has reported that United have seen a £51 million bid for Neves rejected this week. Neves is thought to be valued closer to €100 million, £85 million, by the Primeira Liga club, and is reported to have a €120 million, £102 million, release clause in his contract. It was back in April that Mainoo gave an interview with MUTV about his start to life in the United first team. One of the questions may offer a hint as to what the teenager may want from United's transfer business this summer if they are to sign a new midfielder. Mainoo was asked to name his dream midfield partner for United. The 19-year-old responded by explaining why Paul Scholes would be his choice, but explained why the lineup would not work in reality. "I'd say Paul Scholes," Mainoo told MUTV back in April. "Although there might not be a lot of defending between the two of us. But, yeah, Scholes. Scholes, definitely. Because of everything. His passing, his movement, the way he could finish. His intelligence. Yes, he was a great player." Sir Jim Ratcliffe's stance on Bruno Fernandes' transfer as Man United captain's agent meets clubs. Manchester United are prepared to listen to offers for Bruno Fernandes this summer as the club look to raise funds and cut the wage bill. Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the Manchester United hierarchy are prepared to listen to offers for Bruno Fernandes due to the need to raise funds and cut wages. There has been talk of the Portuguese playmaker, who has been at the club since January 2020, leaving Old Trafford despite another season where he's been one of the team's better performers. Ratcliffe and co. acknowledge that Fernandes is a leading light within the squad. The Manchester Evening News understands that United will consider offers for all but 4 players this summer, with Andre Onana, Kobbie Mainoo, Alejandro Garnacho and Rasmus Højlund the only players definitely not up for sale. Now, the need to find money to inject back into the team coupled with the desire to trim the wage bill means that a substantial offer for Fernandes will be considered, according to The Guardian. Fernandes' agent Miguel Pinho has reportedly been in discussions with potential suitors, Bayern Munich among them. Barcelona too have been touted as a destination, but their money issues mean they are not seen as a credible option. The ex-Sporting Lisbon star is one of the rare transfer successes at the club and is looking to extend and improve his deal, but only once he's got certain assurances. Fernandes earns around £220,000 a week, but wants parity with top earners such as Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho, reports the Mirror. Rashford is reportedly paid a basic salary of about £365,000 with Sancho as well as Casemiro in the bracket of around £300,000 a week. Fernandes is aware that his next contract should be the most lucrative he ever signs as he prepares to turn 30 with his performance level showing no sign of dropping. The 29-year-old is keen to understand the club's future plans, especially with uncertainty surrounding Erik ten Hag's position after a disappointing Premier League season. Bruno Fernandes has been vocal about his commitment and aspirations, as he expressed in an interview with the Players' Tribune. "I love to step out at Old Trafford more than anything in the world," he said. "I don't want to leave. This has always been my ultimate dream. I just want my expectations to fit with the expectations of the club. If you go talk to any fan, they will tell you the same thing. We want to compete for the league. We want to be playing Champions League football. We want to be in cup finals. That is the standard." Marcus Rashford, alongside Fernandes, represents one of United's most valuable players. With Rashford's form dipping over the last year, the club might consider significant bids for the forward. Dithering Ineos need to take Manchester United action before it's too late. Sir Jim Ratcliffe wanted to conduct a thorough review of the season just gone at Man United, but the longer silence emanates from Old Trafford the more due process starts to look like dithering. 10 days have passed since Manchester United's season ended in glory at Wembley, but still we wait to discover whether Erik ten Hag's crowning moment is enough to keep him in the job. That FA Cup triumph is heading into the rearview mirror, and while United's rivals get on with preparing for next season, they are still looking backwards at Old Trafford. Ineos promised a thorough end-of-season review to assess what went wrong and right in 2023-24, but the longer this goes on the more that is beginning to look like dithering. There was plenty of time before the FA Cup final to dot the I's and cross the T's on any review into the season. While the performance against Manchester City was an eye-opener, it shouldn't take 10 days to assess it. Sir Jim Ratcliffe hasn't made his billions by changing his mind over key decisions based on the evidence of one game in a 52-game season. So it's hard to see any good reason why, on June 4, United remain in limbo. Ten Hag doesn't know whether he will be the club's manager next season. His players, many of who have uncertain futures at the club, don't know who will be in charge next season, and neither do United's transfer targets. Clarity really should be essential at this stage of the summer. The transfer window officially opens in 10 days, but discussions over deals will already be in full flow, and it's a big window at Old Trafford. The final act of the season was a vital one financially. Europa League qualification might not bring in the same revenues as the Champions League, but it will be a vital source of income at a time when United are battling with the Premier League's PSL regulations. The guaranteed extra 4 games at Old Trafford also boost the coffers. It remains the case that United must sell to buy, however. Almost everyone in the squad has a price on their head, and there are some big decisions to be made. While some of them will be taken out of the manager's hands, the identity of that manager is a key factor in the decision-making of players. Some will be delaying decisions on their futures until they know who the manager will be. Likewise, any Target United approach at the moment will want to know who the manager, or head coach, will be. It's not an unreasonable question to ask, and by now Ineos should be able to provide an answer. In the days leading up to the final, they were minded to relieve Ten Hag of his duties. Beating City complicated that decision, in a good way. Reasons to stick with the Dutchman aren't hard to find, and while the delay continues, potential targets are ruling themselves out. Kieran McKenna was popular with Ineos, but has since signed a new contract at Ipswich. One potential issue that could cause a delay is Ten Hag's contract situation. If they decide to stick with him, then they really need to offer him a new contract. Going into the final year of his 3-year deal would essentially leave him on trial, which has been the case since Ineos came in. There is also the complication that Ineos' chosen sporting director, Dan Ashworth, remains on gardening leave. He will have his views on Ten Hag's future. Chief Executive Omar Barada doesn't start until July 13th. But the delay can't go on for much longer. It is time to look ahead at Old Trafford, but the longer it takes to make a decision over the manager's future, the longer this club remains stuck in last season.